In today's video, we'll be covering the first topic in Edexcel A-Level Business, the market. And here is a list of the topics we will be covering. A market can be defined as a place where buyers and sellers meet. The aim of marketing is to identify and satisfy consumer wants and needs, such as by using market research, which is where information is gathered from consumers which can influence the business's decision. So now we know what a market is, let's look at the different types of market. We have a mass market, and we have a niche market. In mass markets, products are aimed at broad market segments, and production occurs at a large scale. However, in niche markets, products are aimed at smaller segments of larger markets, and production occurs at a much smaller scale. So now we know what the different types of market are, let's look at the characteristics of them both. For mass markets, the products are more standardized, whereas in niche, they tend to be more unique. Due to economies of scale, average costs tend to be lower in mass markets compared to niche. This means that mass market goods are cheaper and so more affordable than expensive niche market goods. However, this does mean that the profit margin in mass markets is lower than that of niche markets. An example of a firm operating in the mass market would be Primark, whereas a designer brand such as Louis Vuitton would be considered to operate within a niche market. Now we can move on to what is meant by market size and market share. Market size can be defined as the measure of the value or volume of the market. This means either the total value of all products sold within a market or the total number of units sold or produced in a market. Market share, however, is the proportion of the total market which is controlled by a particular firm, and it can be calculated by dividing the size of one firm by the size of the total market which they operate within, multiplied by 100 to get a percentage. Now we have covered that, we can move on to brands. Now what is a brand? A brand is a name, image, or logo which helps a firm stand out from its competitors. They are key for differentiation and influence a higher perceived value for a firm's products, which in turn can add more value and allow firms to charge higher prices. Examples of strong brands are Apple, Nike, and KFC. So what are dynamic markets? Dynamic markets can be defined as a market that is subject to rapid and continuous change. Dynamic markets tie in with online retailing, which is the buying and selling of goods and services via the internet. Advantages of online retailing are access to a larger customer base for firms, 24/7 accessibility, which increases customer convenience, as well as lower costs, resulting in a higher profit margin for firms. However, there are some drawbacks as well. For example, they are dominated by larger firms, which means they are highly competitive, as well as the fact websites can be quite expensive to set up, and lower customer service levels are common. Markets can change in a range of ways. May it be changing consumer tastes and preferences, the amount of competition within a market, changing demographics within a market, or even changing legislation. Next, we can move on to innovation and market growth. For innovation, there are two main types. One being product innovation, which is adaptations or improvements to existing products. An example of this would be cameras getting better on smartphones. And process innovation, which is adaptations or improvements to the manufacturing process, for example, adopting a just-in-time system for stock management. Market growth, which can be defined as a measure of the size of a market compared to its original size, can be caused by many reasons. For example, rising population, changing consumer tastes, as well as rising income. So how do firms adapt to these changes? Recognizing and adapting to changes is crucial for the survival of a business, especially in dynamic markets. So to ensure a business can adapt to changes, they may think about increasing their flexibility, researching the market more to find what the customer wants, constant investments in training and machines as to not fall behind, as well as innovation to differentiate from the competition. And now it's time to look at competition. Broadly, competition can be defined as when two or more firms are aiming at the same target market. However, there are different types of competition. For example, direct competition, which is firms that are trying to sell the same products to the same buyers. For example, Coca-Cola versus Pepsi or Apple versus Samsung. And there's also indirect competition. This is when firms are competing for the customer's disposable income with different products. For example, theatres competing with cinemas. Competition is good for marketplaces, and there are issues that arise with a lack of competition. For example, less customer choice, less innovation, lower efficiency, and higher prices. With this covered, we can now move on to risk and uncertainty. Risk can be defined as the potential threat to a business's success, and this can be planned for. However, uncertainty means when the outcome of an event cannot be predicted. And here are some examples of both. For risks, you could have technical failures or breakdowns, cybersecurity threats, or a loss of key staff. And for uncertainty, businesses may wonder what the impact of Brexit on imports will be, will the economy go into recession, or what will happen with interest rates. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you found the video helpful in any way, make sure to like, subscribe and share.